Hi everybody, welcome to Monday's video. Change up, if you follow me on Twitter you already know, Scorponok, even though I have the video recorded, an hour and a half worth of footage to edit, I'm just not happy with it. And an hour and a half is actually a bunch of different takes and a bunch of different tries, and I'm just not happy with it. So I'm going to be working out the kinks for that, so that we can get a Scorponok video up. Part of the reason why is I use a card table, and the space on the card table is very limited. I have to figure out how best to position the camera and myself in order to make it work out well. I have some ideas that I'm working on. I'm going to be trying to re-record it soon, and it might be up this week, if not next week's at some point. The other things going on with my channel, we're going to be looking at Hoist and Trailbreaker today. A couple other little fun things that are coming up. I'm not sure what Super Sentai series I'm looking at next. I'm kind of holding off. I'm hoping that the mini-pla for the new Zenkaiger line will be arriving shortly. It was released officially yesterday, the 22nd. So yeah, I usually do my videos a week in advance. I had 2 weeks already saved up. This is back to a week in advance. But yeah, so the Zenkaiger mini-pla first series came out officially yesterday. I'm hoping that I'll receive it within the next 7 days or maybe next Tuesday. We'll see. If so, perfect. I'll do an unboxing video. I'll do a video where we're playing around with it. I might even do a live build, and then we'll do a review. The other things I'm working on for this channel, just so you know, is the fact that I am going to try and record the first 4 Resident Evil games for recorded footage and not live. So Resident Evil 0, I'll be doing Resident Evil 1 Remake, the Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 3 Remake, and Resident Evil Code Veronica. I am currently working on recording Resident Evil 0. I've got a couple of things I want to work out and figure out, which is part of the stuff I've been doing for the last week, is kind of figuring out levels for recording, all that kind of stuff, instead of doing a live. And that's about it. That's all the kind of stuff coming up for my channel. So thanks for coming out. Thanks for hanging with me while I do this silly opener. And I really hope you have fun looking at Hoist and Trailbreaker. I love the bots. I love their junkiness. And we'll be getting to them in just 1 second. Tom's here with his toys. He's here to share. Thank you very much for being here. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the reviews. Guys, I do have to say, if you guys want to leave a review that you think is a little harsh or critical, I don't mind. I actually prefer when people let me know what they think I might be able to do better, because it gives me an idea of where I can look to improve for myself as well. Anyways, with that in mind, please leave a comment anyways. Just tell me, hey, Tom, you're looking fat today. P-H-A-T, baby. P-H-A-T. Anyways, thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out. I hope you have fun. Hope you had a great weekend. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Happy Monday, everyone. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Thanks for joining me today. Now, originally, like I had stated in my opener, planned on having a big old bug there, but the big old bug is a big old bug, and he offered some issues. Instead, I'm going to be looking at Trailbreaker and Hoist. They are both based off their 1984/1985 toy and cartoon appearances. Trailbreaker, his original toy, came out in 1984, and Hoist was released in 1985. Hoist was a slight remold / recolor of Trailbreaker, and that actually continued on. Anytime you saw Trailbreaker, you generally saw Hoist as a re-deco of Trailbreaker. That changed in Earthrise, which these guys are from. In the Earthrise line from 2020, Hoist came out first, and Trailbreaker got to be the remold redeco. Yay, Hoist, you finally won! Anyways, so we're going to be looking at these guys. Like I said, they're based off their 1984 counterparts, which were themselves based off of, in vehicle mode, the Toyota Hilux pickup. With this being the regular Toyota Hilux pickup with a tow edition added on, and Trailbreaker being a 4-wheel drive edition with a camper bed. So there you go. A little bit of car facts for you out of that. Nothing too major, to be honest, but hey, it's something. Now, Trailbreaker, if you decide to end up hunting him down, sometimes you'll only find the toys named as Trail Cutter and Trailblazer due to trademark issues that occurred when Hasbro lost the rights to use the name Trailbreaker. Just to let you know. Now, I know these guys were, like I said, released in the 1980s. There was also a early 2000s release with the Thrilling 30 line, where they were based off their IDW looks. And I know Trailbreaker also had a release in the Combiner Wars line. I'm sure there was a ton of other toys released at that time, but those are the ones I remember, and either the ones I own or ones that I saw in stores. Now, let us talk about accessories, because they can use accessories in this mode. Trailbreaker comes with this as his weapon, which is based off of a gimmick he had as a 1984 toy, and we'll talk about that when we get to that point. But you can just plug it in right on his roof. And Hoist has this bit here. Now he has holes on the trailer hitch, and he also has holes on the side. So you could plug it in here, but the instructions recommend plugging it there. So these guys can now run and gun a la Twisted Metal, and if you guys have effects parts, which are new to the 3 lines being released now, the War for Cybertron, Siege, Earthrise, and whatever the new line is, which is based off like Beast Wars, you can attach the effects parts and really give them kind of like a attack look. Right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the vehicles a little bit closer here, once I remove the weapons. And we'll start with Trailbreaker, since he's already in my hand. Trailbreaker has these nice little decos here, along with the 4-wheel drive on the side here, silver hubcaps, painted tail light, and then his front, this is like a smoky gray, and the hood is actually painted, or not painted, the hood is actually the same material as his windshield. So this is all painted on top, so if you scratch that, heaven help you. And that also allows the front lights to be translucent, though the bottom ones are picked out in silver rather than translucent. Autobot symbol, camper bed, and then underneath, robot bits. Now, Hoist has this nice caution stripe on both sides, which in his 1985 toy, released in, I believe, Mexico, the stripes, the black and yellow stripes, did not have the white outline that his toy was known for at that time, as well as this toy here, which is, like I said, it's a throwback to his original toy, that white stripe along the side. Again, picked out taillight, which is nice. His windshield and hood is this nice light blue, and if you look, his headlights and the fog lights are all clear. Underneath, same thing, robots, silver hubcaps. He's got some of that battle damage that people kind of hated on the Siege toy line for. I don't mind it on him. It's, makes him look a little more rough and tumble, and I kind of like that. But yeah. So as a kid, I always wanted these toys. I don't know why. I just always connected to Hoist and Trailbreaker for some reason. Now he, like I said, is a tow truck. So what we can do, swing that out, and then put the support bars back. And this will just ride along this channel here on these two, you can kind of see it, there's 2 of them. 2 little pegs, and this gives you your tow hitch. It is able to attach to other of the War for Cybertron toys that have this kind of attachment system, which are the bases and some of the roads, and I believe Astro Train and Grapple have something like that. So you can attach them and tow those kinds of things. But if you go to tow another vehicle, you're left behind. What you have to do is angle that up. And though it's not a super tight hold, it does hold well enough that you can take and pop another vehicle on there, and there you go. Get your tow on. And it works relatively well. Especially if the other vehicle rolls decently. Alright. Now these guys, as you can see, are basically the same exact mold with slight differences to the bed, but they transform in basically the same way. So, let's go ahead and get them transformed up, huh? Alright, we'll start holding off on Trailbreaker here. Go ahead and pull the hood up, like so. And inside the hood there are these tracks. Let me see if I can get a better... Right here. You see that little track right? Let me see. Right along here. That track there. That is what these tabs rest in. So once you free up the hood, it then allows you to come back here, and we want to free up this piece, right? And that's what we're doing here. As you can see, there is like a little notch in the tab here, so that frees it up on this end, as well as frees up the arms that are attached to it. And then we want to take and lift this part up, like that. The back end's attached the same way on both of them. There are tabs on the panels on the side, and there's a hole in the side of the knee, and then there's a hole and tabs on the bed pieces of these vehicles. So just go ahead and swing that out. That'll allow you to then swing out these arms, like so. Alright, now swing out the leg, which tabs in on this, and there is that hole just above the foot, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. And then you're going to swing this down. This piece here does tab into the cavity there, but then when you go to swing it down, it will thoop into place using these kind of curved tabs. They just fit in there in such a way that they'll hold. Right? Now, go ahead and fold the hood down like so, and it'll tab into place using, well, his dupes are not very tough, but there is a hole there and there's a tab just behind the bumper, and you can do that. Now swing this bit around on the arms, and then what you want to do is you want to, before you attach this, make sure that you have this kind of straight out from the piece. This lets you push on this end and kind of pull on this part here. That's how I do it, to free up the head. The head will swing around, and now what you can do is the arm here, you want it all, the red part all the way up, and that lets you then attach the opening to that big tab on the back, locking his body into place around the waist. Alright, now straighten out the arm. Fling it down and down. Down. And normally you have to turn this one like that. This one was already turned for whatever reason, probably just how I was messing around with the toy. And there we go. There we go. Alright, so there you go. Hoist. Not Hoist. Trailbreaker. Dang it. Trailbreaker in his robot mode. They're a bit of a chunky boy, and I like it. I think that's maybe why I also liked it too. They just looked huggable due to being somewhat heavy. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to transform him as well. Same thing. Boop. Up. Open. Lock into place. Like that. On Hoist especially, I will put his hood into place before I thoop this in. And that's just because the bumper hits the waist otherwise and won't fit into place properly. See? So by leaving it angled out and then closing it, once you have the hood in place, it locks in where it's supposed to. Swing out the legs. Adjust the arms real quick. Like that. Let's go ahead and swing out to the head. Like that. And then attach the back piece. And there you go. And this is Hoist. Now, they aren't actually finished yet. To finish Hoist up, this is one of the differences. You want to move these arms out of the way and pull that down. As you can see, there's this white bit in here. This lets us then, if I can get my nail in there properly, kind Come on, you. There we go. And then I lock that back up. And then we're going to do this and this. And this is his full spectrum multi-sensor. Now he is almost complete. To complete Hoist look, because he's usually shown as having one hand and the other hand is a blaster. So what you're going to do is take his gun, plug it in. You don't have to. This is just my preference. And this is how I would display him. He'd always have one of his hands being a gun. So we'll look at articulation and all that in just 1 minute. So we got Hoist. Let's go ahead and finish up Trailbreaker. Trailbreaker has a couple options here. You can, if you want, remove this piece. There is that slot there that tabs over this little tab here. So go ahead and swing this up and swing this around. And then I usually leave this on here, like so. You can leave it off if you think that's a better look. It's all up to you. It's your toy. But I like to leave it on, just because I think it looks better. Alright, now, why do I feel like this head is never... There we go. Alright, so now Trailbreaker is finished with his radar scanner and shoulder cannon. Trailbreaker has two hands generally in most media. And so here you go. Trailbreaker and Hoist. Oh, sorry, blocking the light somehow. So we got Trailbreaker looking good, looking fine, looking sexy and black. And then we got Hoist looking Julie and emeraldish and jealous and green, I guess. I don't know. Sexy and black is the easiest one to do. Making a pun about looking good and green, other than saying good and green, is a little tougher. Their articulation is exactly the same. Arms will move out on that post, and you got some swivel there. And you can, if you move stuff out of the way, do a full 180. Their heads are on ball joints. They have a waist. They have... Uh-oh, look at that. It just doesn't work. Well, that's because you got to move the waist out of the way a little bit. The way the hips work is if you want to pose it, you want to move the leg first and then turn the waist on Trailbreaker. Otherwise, you run the risk of scratching up the silver paint on his bumper. But yeah, so legs, good forward. Not really any back. It runs into this red piece here, actually. Out, bend, and you can really get a good bend if you... It's supposed to be 90 degrees, but due to the way the toy works, you can get a really good bend. Because this is the knee, this is the transformation joint. Transformation joint, knee. And articulation on the foot, ankle joint. Like I said, same thing for him. Kicks up. He, on the other hand, can kick all the way back. That's the only difference. Now, the other differences between these two is paint application, of course, whereas you can see the silver on his leg extends from the top and then kind of fills out most of the bottom. And on Trailbreaker, instead, it fills out the top and then just has a line going down underneath. Same exact legs, same exact body, different heads, different back pieces, and also a different waist. Trailbreaker has smooth, as you can see here, and Hoist kind of has like a circuitry pattern. Now, as you saw in the opening, Trailbreaker does come with a gun, and as I said, I wanted to talk about it a little bit. This gun is based on his 1984 toy. For both Trailbreaker and Hoist, their hands could be replaced with various other weapons. Hoist, like I said, is usually displayed as one of his other weapons being his actual hand, whereas Trailbreaker is usually displayed with both hands being hands, but you could take and remove his hands and then plug in weapons. This, if I'm not mistaken, is based off of one of his silver twin blasters that you could put in place of his hand. So that's a really cool nod to the original toy. You know, and just like before, you can still, you know, plug on effects so they can boom. You know, you can do that. You can plug it onto his shoulder-mounted blaster. I don't think you can plug it onto the radar dishes. It just doesn't fit. Too big. Yeah, and then on this toy, you have some holes on his shoulder, so you could plug anything with a 5mm port in. Let's see, does he have... Yeah, on his... Here he also has blast points, so you could plug and stuff in there. And I think that is it for the blast points. You can plug it on the side of his leg a little bit. Same exact things. There and there. Blast points on the shoulder. So, there you go. So yeah, this is Hoist and this is Trailbreaker. Now, the fun thing is, the toy for Hoist, not Hoist, sorry, the toy for Trailbreaker is a combination of his animation and his original toy appearance, with the helmet being based off his toy and the face, which we'll get a look at here, being based off his animation model. So it's a combination of both. Nice blue visor too, though. Yeah, kind of dour looking guy. He is the jokester usually, but yeah, he's supposed to be like a depressed kind of deal guy who hides it with jokes. Whereas Hoist here is supposed to be your everyday man. You know, he's your, General Joe kind of deal. He is, duty-wise, he is kind of like a doctor. He's considered a maintenance engineer. He does have engineering qualities and all that kind of stuff, so he also does some other projects. Like he worked with Grapple in the original cartoon to make a sun-refracting laser thing. And this guy's kind of like your outdoors expert kind of deal. So there you go. So there we go. We have Hoist and we have Trailbreaker 2020 War for Cybertron Earthrise line. This is Tom saying, hey, we'll see you soon with a surprise. Check in tomorrow. I'm working on a project. If everything works out, it'll be out tomorrow. Check it out. Thanks. I'll see you then. Bye.